Hey everyone, it's Rob Ryder, and it's Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. And, because here recently they've been talking about dishonorably discharging active duty members because they won't take a biological weapon, right? I believe that those people should know, well, listen, if you've served 90 days, you're already a veteran, right? So I want to show some things that may be of interest to you. Plus, these other things I had found out this week about the VA privacy officer and, some of the things I found in the Code of Federal Regulations that have to do with the VA and veterans, right? And, so when Congress passes a law, that would end up in the United States Code, like 38 USC 503, right? That's a particular law that was passed by Congress. Well, then those laws get interpreted, and how they're going to be implemented is in the CFRs, the Code of Federal Regulations. So Title 38 CFR, Code of Federal Regulations, right, is the regulations by which the VA is going to implement the laws that Congress said, this is what they're supposed to do. So, it's good to pay attention to the CFRs to say, well, it says right here in the CFR, this is what you're supposed to do. Right? This is like auditing their procedures. So, it's, I guess, some pretty interesting things to show you today, but nothing is complete. These are all just, a bunch of little pieces I want to get down, have done a video, and get other people thinking about it. So here we go. But let's finish the first page. So I'm Staff Sergeant Robert Allen Rutluski, U.S. Army veteran. Now, I say I'm still a Staff Sergeant because I never got a discharge order. And I don't know any veteran that ever did, right? And if you don't have a discharge order, well, then you're still in the frickin' military, right? Just the way it is. Now, they don't want to admit that necessarily, but that's part of this process of getting this system that has all of these entitlements for us to have, but we're not getting them because there's errors in records, intentionally put there so we didn't get them. And that's the kind of shit I'm trying to clear up. For instance, any veteran should get retirement at 60 years of age. Doesn't really matter how much active duty service you have, right? Because they've never let you out. You're still in the military, and so you're gaining, years every year. You're getting credit for it, and so at age 60, we should all get retirement, but we're not getting it. Now, I'm not talking about a pension from the VA. I'm talking about retirement from the military, right? And here's another thing. You're qualified to be paid both VA disability and military retirement. So I want to show you some of these things, right? So let's get going. But after you've watched it, you may have to watch this video a couple times if you're new to what I'm doing, or if you have a question, well, then write quarterrecord@AOL.com, right? Or my phone number, 616-712-6179. But I need to tell you, if you put a comment in the videos, I can't answer, right? Any comment I've ever tried to answer in a video disappears, right? So, hey, I'm being monitored. What can I tell you? If that's the worst they're going to do to me, then I'll stick with YouTube because it's easy enough for me to do. Okay, so give me just a second to load some things up to show you. Hang on. But like I said, I'm also working on this other video. So before I go to talk specifically about the VA, I want to show this to everybody, right? Because this will be part of the next video I do, where I helped a guy in Dutchess County, right, get his foreclosure dismissed by putting in constitutional questions, right? Notice the constitutional questions, which I showed in an earlier video, but that's for later. What I wanted to show here is, so he had sent me this stuff about the Dutchess County clerk because I'm trying to, figure out how to look at all those documents. And I'm reading this, and it says, well, for more than 300 years, since 1715, by the way, the office of Dutchess County Clerk has been the keeper of the land recordings and the legal filings of the county. We administer, pay attention, we administer the oath of allegiance to new citizens. Well, we need to stop right there, right? most people believe that, aliens coming from overseas here, that they go to the district court, right, the U.S. district court, and they take an oath, and, that's how they get a naturalization certificate, right? But that isn't what this is taught. This has nothing to do with naturalization. This is becoming a citizen. And I believe that we're all supposed to have done this, right? This is how you become a citizen. Even if you're born here, you still have to go take the oath, right? And it's done by the county. Now, I didn't say it, they did. We administer the oath of allegiance to new citizens. So go to the county and tell them you want to be a citizen. That's one of the things I'm going to try this week. It just blew me away to see that there, because I always figured, when I think of people taking an oath for citizenship, right, it's people coming from overseas here that go to the federal court. But that's not what the county is saying. So apparently those are two different jurisdictions. One is the United States of America, which is King George's, right? And the other one's the United States, which is the thing under the Constitution. And I'm saying the one that's through the county is the one that is to do with the Constitution. Because if you keep going here, let's see, and provide a number of services to business and veterans. Right? So it's a very important office to a veteran, apparently, but I've never used it for anything, so I'm going to have to figure that out. Okay, hang on again. All right, and just real quick then, if you went to my site on YouTube, which is Rob Ryder with 3 B's, ROBBBRYDER, and you search under videos, these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos have to do with, the current state of affairs in the United States, which is that Joe Biden did not take the oath of office that's in the second article of the Constitution. Right? And all the people that are in the 6th article of the Constitution, now go look at this stuff, right? Please go look. Go look at the 6th article, 3rd section. It'll say the senators and representatives aforementioned and all state legislatures and executive and judicial officers of the United States and the several states and yada, 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 all need to take an oath to satisfy the 6th article of the Constitution. And no religious test shall ever be given. Well, nobody has done that, right? And, I'm just going to say, if you want to know more about it, then start with General Berger, Court Martial Joe Biden, then go forward to enlist to defend the Constitution, and you'll be a frickin' expert. Because it didn't happen, right? So, but on this last one here, I had said that the enlisted needed to fill out a sworn statement form and go take it to their commander, right? And say that Joe Biden didn't take proper oath of office. You don't need to take the fucking the vaccine. You don't have the authority to give it to you. Right? The guy that, I can't remember his name right now for some reason, but the guy that's playing Secretary of Defense, he didn't take the oath of office. He couldn't have been appointed because the people that are trying to appoint him didn't take the oath of office. So he can't tell you to take it. You see what I'm saying? That these people haven't taken the proper oath of office. You need to put it in writing and tell somebody. And every enlisted man should go to his fucking commander and tell him. And if you would watch these videos, you would know all you need to know to go do it. You could just watch this last one enlisted, you'd know it. The rest of these are for, civilians that need to be told more than once. Right? But it's all in here. Just go watch it. So in the meantime, well, what else is there, right? That's what I'm working on, because I'm not in the military anymore. And I was trying to send my complaint all sorts of different ways in the last 3 years. And this last one was to try to send it to the adjutant general, for the state of Michigan. But in no case was I doing it under any kind of seal, right? This is the thing. I can't get a sworn statement form done because I can't get somebody with a proper seal to do it. And a notary public is not the proper person to do it. They can only, put a seal or witness things that are going to be private, right, between subjects. But this is between a subject and the state, the nation. Well, that takes a different kind of seal, right? You have to use the seal of, like, the VA, which is a cabinet level member of the, president's cabinet. So it's the same as the United States doing it when the VA puts their seal on it. So, okay, hang on again, and we'll get into the meat and potatoes here. All right, let me clear up a few definitions real quick, right? So, if you went to Title 38 United States Code, right, now that's the title of United States Code for the VA. In definitions, it will tell you that a veteran means a person who served in active military, naval, or space service, air or space service, and who was discharged and released therefrom under conditions other than dishonorable. But, it has a comma here, so that could mean, well, this is one statement here, and this is another statement here, right? So when do you become a veteran, right? You could read this and say, well, I need to be discharged first, but it doesn't necessarily say that. It says you needed to have served in the active duty military, Navy, Air, or Space Service, right? So I say, well, you must be a veteran now if you're in the military because you can get a VA home loan, right? VA home loans are available for active duty military. Okay, well, that's VA home loan as a VA benefit. If you can get that, then you can get them all. They can't pick and choose which ones to give you, right? So, I mean, there's the proof that after 90 days, which it actually says here, right? When it becomes to eligibility for VA mortgage, so again, any VA entitlement, it isn't something that takes years and years to occur. Generally, you are eligible if you've served at least 90 consecutive days on active duty during wartime or 180 days during peacetime. Right? So if you've served 90 days, you're already a veteran. So that would mean to me, well, then, if I can't get what I want from the military, I should be able to go to the VA. Now, I'm not talking about jumping chain of command. I'm saying if chain of command won't do the right thing, if you go put your complaint in there and they won't do the right thing, well, then maybe you can go to the VA. Now, hopefully, enlisted, you don't have to do that, right? That a veteran will get that done. But I'm just, going to show that you are by law, apparently, after 90 days, a veteran. Okay, well, let's go here to the Defense Finance and Accounting Service. Right, qualifying for disability retirement. If you have less than 20 years of active service, a disability rating of 30% or higher will qualify you for retirement, and a disability rating below 30% will result in separation. So, if they're telling you active duty that they're going to give you a dishonorable discharge, then go down and get yourself put yourself on, go to the sick bay, right? And tell them your ears are ringing, which is tendinitis, that's 10%. And tell them it keeps you awake at night, which is insomnia, which according to VA benefits, disability benefits for insomnia, that I think you can have up to 100%. Right? So, but the point is, right, insomnia can be rated anywhere as a VA disability from 0 to 100%. So if you get to 30% rating of disability, you can retire from the military and get that retirement pay and get 30% VA pay or whatever it ends up being that you got. I mean, what disability rating do they give you? And you're in. Now, so like my brother, he worked on B-52s, right? He's been deaf ever since he left the military, right? He should have been retired from the military because he was over 30%. When he finally went and got his hearing checked, they gave him 70% hearing loss or whatever, 70% disability, maybe a 60% disability, right, for his hearing loss. Well, that means he should have been retired from the military and get 60% for the VA because you can claim both of them. So, okay, hang on again. Okay, so, bear with me. I'm just going through some facts and figures of things that, I've talked about numerous times in the past, but, right now they need to be talked about again. So, here's another thing, that determining disability, unemployability, and marginal employment. Now, this is out of the VA's own manual, M21-1MR, Section B, determining disability. Right, and if you go down here in Part 5, we're going to talk about general information of determining unemployability. And I'm not going to go through it all. I just want to get to this part, right? Evidence required to establish unemployability. In many instances, the veteran's unsupported statement will be enough evidence to establish unemployability if it's consistent with other facts of the case, such as good work record. So in other words, you should be able to tell them on a statement that, you're unemployable. And the VA should give you unemployability, which is the same as getting 100% disability rating. And so now if you had been in the military and you got out, like I just said, with retirement, and you had 30%, you could just tell them now, well, I'm unemployable, right? But it has to be evidence. See, this is the thing, right? And then they could give you unemployability, right? And now you would have all your time with no stress just to go help people, which I have a brother-in-law that does that. He doesn't have the VA, or he doesn't have the retirement yet, but he's got unemployability. And he spends, every day feeding the homeless down in Cocoa Beach, down in Cocoa, Florida. Right? He lives in Titusville. He makes the meals. They have people go deliver the meals, and it's all done in people's kitchens, and there's no 501c3 to do it. They just, they tell other people what they're doing, and all these people want to donate. So they don't have any problem getting the food. It's just somebody to actually go do it. So, this is the point. You could do so many wonderful things if you didn't have to go work a fucking job, right? And I'm just saying there is a way to make that happen, right? But if you're going to take those benefits, I would just say for your soul's sake that you go find something to do to get back, right? But this is it, veterans unsupported statement. So how would you do that? How do you create evidence, right? Well, under the rules of evidence, it has to have a frickin' seal on it, right? That's one way to do it. So how do you get that seal? Well, the VA's got one. And that's where we're headed to in just a second. Right? Because this is what it says in the Federal Rules of Evidence, right? Rule 902, right? You may want to write this down. Federal Rules of Evidence, Rule 902. Evidence that is self-authenticating. The following items of evidence are self-authenticating. They require no intrinsic evidence of authenticity in order to be admitted. Right? Domestic public documents that are sealed and signed. A document that bears a seal purporting to be that of the United States, any blah, 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 department, agency. Okay, you get it. And a signature. Well, that document now is not just a document. Now it's evidence. And it's not just any kind of evidence. It's self-authenticating evidence. It doesn't need anything else other than itself to say that, hey, I'm self-authenticating evidence. Right? It's not hearsay. This is a big fucking deal. This is evidence. This is not putting in pieces of paper into a record. This is putting evidence into a record when it's done this way. Right? Well, this is something that we as veterans should be able to get done. And I'll show you where in just a second here. Okay, so in Title 38, CFR, right, Code of Federal Regulations, which I'm just going to look at this one page, right? But you can download this whole thing, right? Here's the Code of Federal Regulations, pensions, bonuses, veterans relief. Right, so if you put in Google Title 38, CFR, Google it, you should be able to find on the Government Printing Office.gov website, right, where you can download this parts 0 to 17. Okay, and in that 0 to 17 is, because there's another book after this, right? But this is which I have not been able to find. I've not been able to find Chapter 2. I found Chapter 1. I haven't found Chapter 2 yet. Right? Department of Veterans Affairs and all the different things they're talking about. And we're going to talk here about delegated authority. Right? But you got adjudication, scheduling, life insurance, got all these other things, adjusted compensation, legal services. That's going to be interesting. Enforcement, protection of human subjects, and medical. Right? So, for instance, I'll show you here in a second. There's a law in Section 17 that says if your DD-214 shows that you did not receive dental when you left the military, right? So here's mine, and this is how they did it on mine. dental care was not provided within 90 days prior separation, right? Then you're owed dental today because of this right here, because you didn't get it. Well, that's in the CFR. So, people don't ever talk about this, or I've never heard it talked about. If they are, they're keeping it a secret. All right, so that's just some of the stuff that's in there. But here's let's just start at the top. So, Title 38, Code of Federal Regulations, Section 2.3, Delegation of Authority to employees to take affidavits, to administer oaths, etc. An employee to whom authority is delegated by the Secretary in accordance with these particular sections, however it worked out, is by virtue of such delegated authority until such authority is revoked or otherwise terminated, empowered to take affidavits, to administer oaths or affirmations, to aid claimants in the preparation and presentation of claims. Right now, this is a VA employee. This isn't like going to a service officer who's not a VA employee. They're provided through all the different patriotic associations, American Vets or Disabled American Vets or American Legion or VFW, whatever it is, right? This isn't the same person. This is a VA employee that has the authority to aid a claimant in the preparation and presentation of a claim, and to make investigations, examine witnesses, and certify to the correctness of papers and documents upon any matter within the jurisdiction of the Veterans Affairs. That's like our own judge, right? So, let's say our own judicial officer. So, such employee is not authorized to administer oaths in connection with the execution of affidavits relative to physical vouchers. So, it must be somebody else that is, because they're specifically saying that this isn't the person that can do that, but they're making it sound like those are things that need to be done, so somebody else can do it. And is not authorized to take acknowledgments to policy loan agreements and applications for cash surrender value to the United States government life insurance and national life insurance. Well, then somebody else is. And we'll figure out who they are eventually, but we're dealing with the guy that can do these things, right? The guy or gal. So, any such oath or affirmation, affidavit, or examination, when certified under the hand of any such employee by whom it was administered or taken and authenticated by the seal of the Department of Veterans Affairs, may be offered or used in any court of the United States and without further proof of identity or authority of such employee shall have like force and effect as if it administered or taken before a clerk of such court. So when they do this to you, right, you have this done by whoever this VA person is, and you go and file that into court, it's like the clerk of that court did it. That's huge, right? Now you put something right into the district court. The delegated authority from the secretary to employees to take affidavits to administer oaths will be evidenced by a VA form 4505, and so this is how we know that they can do it. I want to see your VA form 4505, whatever that is. I've never seen one. But when they give it to you, well, it'll say VA form 4505 down in the lower left-hand corner. Right? So, a very powerful person. So, I had sent a copy of this right to the VA. I have secured messaging through VA Healthy Vets, right, which we'll talk about in a second. And so I just sent it to them with a copy and said, hey, who's the person they're talking about here? And which was later at the end of this week. Well, they told me on Friday that I need to contact a guy called the privacy officer. Privacy officer. Privacy officer. Privacy officer. Please write that down. They have people called privacy officers. Go figure. Right? Well, what the heck is that? Right? So I went and looked. Well, sure enough, they got a thing called the VA Privacy Service. Right? It has privacy policies, procedures, regulations, VA privacy principles, so forth and so on. Well, some of the things that would be covered by the VA privacy system then would be things to do with HIPAA violations, which I don't remember exactly what the acronym is. It's HIPAA, HIPAA, but it has to do with when they're negligent with your personal information, using these systems of transferring information back and forth. And I'm going to show you, well, that's already happened, so I already have a HIPAA violation on them. Well, come to find out, when we get into section 14 of this manual, it says that if you have, a violation, you can file a tort claim through the VA. But to do it, see, this is the thing. A lot of people put this paperwork in, but they never have a seal on it. Right? I'm saying, done properly, you can have all this shit witnessed, under the seal of the VA. And so if we were just to go back real quick to, I hope I didn't close it, right? This right here, where it says, again, this is to get unemployability, right? That in many instances, a veteran's unsupported statement will be enough evidence. Well, how do you make it evidence? You take that statement to the privacy officer and say, I need you to, witness this for me. Or I need to do it under oath, or whatever it is. I need to do a sworn statement, right? Because it's your unsupported statement. Okay, well, it didn't say, it couldn't be a sworn statement, so that's what I'm going to do. I want to give them a sworn statement that I'm unemployable. And my proof is, well, I haven't had a job since 2000. I don't have to figure out why I haven't done it. I haven't had one. All right. There is one other interesting thing in here that a veteran whose sole employment consists of performing household duties may qualify as unemployable if the veteran is no longer able to perform the principal household duties without substantial help. All right, I can't do it unless you give me some money because, they're going to put me on the street. So this is the point, right? You don't even have to have a real job, right? A veteran whose sole employment consists of performing household duties may qualify as unemployable. My point is that the way it's written, Uncle Sam made it really easy for a veteran to claim unemployability. And the ones that made it difficult are the esquires who make sure there's errors and omissions in the records that keep us from getting these things. Right? But one of the ways around it, apparently, is to, go to the privacy officer and turn your statement into evidence, because they want evidence. They don't want just a document, but it needs to be evidence. And you make it evidence by having the signature of the officer and the seal of the VA. And my brothers and sisters, you got foolproof evidence. It doesn't get any better than that. So now I don't know, to what level down they have these privacy officers, but I do know I was told that they have one at I'm going to the Wyoming Medical Clinic, which is part of the Battle Creek Medical Center, yada yada yada. So at least the centers are going to have one, and well, very good. Okay, one other thing that's in here, right, is again, this is Title 38, United States Code, section. Actually, I don't think that's true. I think this is Title 38, United States Code, but not the CFR. This is the law. It says dental care, drugs for certain disabled veterans, and vaccines. Well, any stupid vaccine. Okay, outpatient dental service and treatment and related dental appliances shall be furnished under this section only if a dental condition or a disability, which is service-connected and compensable in degree, whatever that means, or if it isn't, then you have these different sections. Well, I'm saying number 4. The veteran's certificate of discharge or release from active duty does not bear a certification that the veteran was provided within the 90-day period immediately before the date of such discharge or release a complete dental examination, which would include x-rays, and all appropriate dental services and treatment indicated by examination to be needed. Right? So you should be able to go have an exam now. If they didn't check the box to say you had one on your DD-214, right? And you would be qualified for dental. So come this week, I'm going to contact eligibility and eligibility. I think it's enrollment. I think that's combination office. And send them this and say, hey, according to, here's my DD-214, my box wasn't checked. I want to have dental. Let's see what they say. But these, it was eligibility. That's who I sent the question to in the first place about who's the officer that has the authority under 38 CFR. They said, we got to talk to the privacy officer. So, it's not like they tried to hide it. So, very good. Okay, a couple more things to show you. Okay, so now I'm looking at Title 38 CFR, Code of Federal Regulations, Chapter 14, right? But it's 14.600, where it talks about federal tort claims, right? And so let's just read a little bit, right? Prescribes uniform procedure for handling of claims against the United States for money only on account of a damage to or loss of property or on account of personal injury or death caused by negligent or wrongful act. That'd be called a tort, right? Or omission, right? Omission of a material fact, so forth and so on, while acting within the scope of his or her official employment. Under circumstances where the United States, if a private person would be liable in accordance with the law of the place where the act or omission occurred. So basically, we're talking about general liability insurance. This isn't really for how much the thing was worth that got damaged. It's just the fact that it was damaged, right? And so if you look at a general liability policy, it pays up to $1,000 or $1 million or $2 million, depending on what people pay for, right, per occurrence. Right? Just because it happened, just because it occurred. It doesn't matter how much your boat costs that got damaged. All it matters is that your boat got damaged. Right? That's an occurrence. Well, some of these torts that are covered in there are things like malicious prosecution, false arrest, yada, yada, yada. Or whatever we can make it to, to say, well, there was an occurrence of this happening. And that occurrence for us as veterans could be a HIPAA violation, right? That's a thing that occurred, and so we're trying to collect on the HIPAA violation. Because when you fill out the paperwork for a HIPAA violation, right, they may penalize whoever it is, but that money's going to the government. It's not going to you. If you want to get paid, you got to put it on a federal tort claim. So let's continue reading just real quick, right? So that's what this is for. You got applicable regulations, but 14.601, investigation and development. A report of any, that's a collision, so, right, now we're talking about, automobile accident, right, fill in an SF-91 form. Any incident resulting in damage to or loss of property other than personal effects, keep that in mind, other than personal effects, EFFECTS, which is one of the things that's covered in the Constitution, right? Effects of a patient. Well, if you're registered with the VA, they have you registered as a patient, so check. In a Department of Veterans Affairs facility or in a personal injury or death due apparently to alleged or negligent wrongful act or omission, yada, 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 yada. Okay. The director of the facility where such occurrence took place will promptly transmit a copy of the report to the appropriate regional counsel, yada, yada, yada. When an incident involves the loss of personal effects of a patient in the Department of Veterans Affairs facility, the director will assist the patient in completing an SF-95 claim for damage, injury, or death, and will advise the patient that it will be forwarded immediately to the appropriate regional counsel for consideration. Well, I'm saying that's what the privacy officer is going to do for us, right? Because it said he can do investigations, right? So the privacy officer is working for the director. And, if you're a veteran, now, again, this is for veterans, right? who have gone to the VA and signed up, well, you start looking at your paper, you're going to see there's all sorts of errors in it. And that's, I'm going to say it's a HIPAA violation. That's the direction I'm going with it. And I'm going to say, hey, I need you to do this for me under 38 CFR 14601, section 2, a subsection, double I. So very good. I mean, it's in there to be used. A couple other things that are said in different places, right? That this is the United States Code, administrative errors. That so now we're talking about the Secretary of the VA. If the Secretary determines that the benefits administered by the department have not been provided by reason of administrative error on the part of the federal government or any of its employees, the Secretary may provide such relief on account of such error as the Secretary determines equitable, including the payment of monies to a person whom the Secretary determines is equitably entitled to such monies. Right? And so this power can't be delegated, it goes on to say. I'm not going to read all this stuff, right? But so this is another way that you could use the privacy officer to send your evidence statement to the Secretary for him to make a decision. And that's really important in a couple of places. Let me show you here. Okay, there's a few more sections out of the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 38, CFR, right? Disability computation, extrascheduler ratings. And then 38 CFR 416, total disability rating for compensation based on unemployability, where it says in the second part that it is the established policy of the Department of Veterans Affairs that all veterans who are unable to secure and follow a substantially gainful occupation by reason of service-connected disability shall be rated totally disabled. Therefore, rating boards should submit to the Director of Compensation Service for extrascheduler consideration all cases of veterans who are unemployable by reason of service-connected disability, but whom fail to meet the percentage standard set forth in the paragraph A of this section. And so in paragraph A, I talked about, right, there's one disability, it has to be at 60%. If there's two or more disabilities, one of them has to be at least 40, combined rating of 70, right? Those are the conditions to be classified as unemployable. But if you don't meet those, well, then you ask for extra scheduler consideration, right? Because it's the established policy of the Department of Veterans Affairs that all veterans who are unable to secure and follow a substantially gainful occupation by reason of service-connected disability shall be rated totally disabled. And we already read that all it takes to make that statement is, the unsupported statement of the veteran as evidence, which means you got to get the damn seal on it. So these are the things I think that we've missed in the past is nobody's putting anything under seal, right? We're just throwing paper in, or we're going to the third-party intervener, which is like the American Legion or whomever, their service officer, right? Because we have somebody in the VA that's supposed to help us with our claims. Now, I haven't done any of this myself yet. I'm pointing it out because I'm, found it this week, read it this week. Now I'm going to do a video on it, talk about it for a bit, and then Monday see what I can do with it. Okay, hang on one more time. Okay, so, taking it further than just your own personal needs, right? Well, if I can do that with this person, then I should be able to file a complaint that whomever hasn't taken the proper oath of office, right, to satisfy the 6th article, right? So go read the 6th article, please. Go look at the 3rd section of the 6th article, and then come and look at this, which is called 1 Stat, S-T-A-T 23, right? 1 Stat 23. If you Google that, you can find this. And this is the first law passed at the ratification of the Constitution. And it's an act to regulate the time and manner of administering certain oaths, where it says that the oath or affirmation required by the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States shall be administered in the following form, to wit, I, A.B., do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. That's the whole oath, right? And nobody's taken it. And where the A.B. is where they would have to put their full legal name, because in legal matters, you have to use your legal name, right? Well, they're not doing this. This isn't the oath that Congress takes. It's not the oath that your governor takes, but they're all supposed to take it. Anybody that's covered by the 6th article had to take this oath, and they're not taking it. Well, this is what we made the basis of the guy's constitutional questions complaint in New York, right? And the judge just came this week and dismissed the case. Hang on a second. All right, so again, if you go to Rob Ryder and you go back far enough, you'll find notice of constitutional question and subpoenas, right? Well, the guy did what I said to do in the video, and his case has been dismissed. Now, there's something going on, right? But when I get a chance to do the video, I'm going to, the judge just laid it all out. I mean, she was just heaping coals on the attorney for the plaintiff, right? And we need to do something with this information to get it from being just dismissed, which is what the guy asked for. Now, that wasn't in the video, right? Apparently, they said that's what he asked for. But no, we want to say it was a malicious prosecution and be awarded damages. So more on that later. But I'm just saying, right, that using that strategy to say, that the judge didn't have this oath of office, therefore they didn't have the authority to hear the matter, is true. And a judge just, a judge just agreed. Well, without agreeing, right? Pick something else. So anyways, 1 Stat 23. Okay. And they all had to take this oath. And this is what the guy referenced, put a copy in the court case. He did it a week or so ago, and now his case has been dismissed. It had been open since 2019, right? Within a week of putting this in, the case gets dismissed. So it means something, obviously. Okay, and then I just wanted to point out that, this talks about Army Regulation AR, what number are you? Here we go. AR 635-200, Administrative Separations, I believe is the proper name. But, effective date of discharge. So, discharge soldier, yada, 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 blah, 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 D. And you get down to notice of discharge may be either the following: actual, by delivery of soldier of a discharge certificate, or constructive, when actual delivery of discharge cannot be accomplished because of the absence of the soldier to be discharged. Well, so on my DD-214, right, member unavailable for signature. So they couldn't have given me a discharge certificate, right? So now we got to go to what else is there. It says that the annotated discharge certificate, discharge order, and copy of DD-214 reflecting effective date of discharge will be sent to the soldier at the address provided for that purpose. If the documents mailed to the soldier are returned unclaimed or undeliverable, they will be destroyed. Okay, well, I never got them, so either they've been destroyed or they were never made. Right? The annotated discharge order and copy of DD-214, further reflecting date of mailing of the soldier, will be included in the personnel file, which I've been trying to get mine for quite some time, but they have all the records shut down right now. They're using COVID as an excuse for not giving people their frickin' records. Although all the shit's electronic now, nobody has to actually go pull a file. Right? All the shit's electronic. Just push a button and print out my file. They're not doing it. But my point is, if they haven't done this, you're not discharged from the military. And the military can hold you as long as they need to. Right? This is Title 10 of the United States Code for Armed Forces, where it says in 10 U.S.C. 506, regular components, extension of enlistment during war, that an enlistment in regular Army, regular Navy, regular Air Force, regular Marine Corps, regular Coast Guard, in effect at the beginning of a war, or entered into during a war, unless sooner terminated by the President, continues in effect until 6 months after the termination of the war. Well, we're always at war, right? Any armed conflict is a war. This is lowercase w. It doesn't have to be a declared war. It just needs to be us shooting at people, and it's a war, right? The Cold War is a war. War on drugs is a war. War on terror is a war. All these things are wars. And you've never been released. You're still in. You should be getting paid if you're a veteran who thinks you've been out, right? But because of these errors in our records, well, this is the shit we're dealing with. I'm just trying to figure out how to get rid of the errors, right? And so now having available some guy to help us do it, that's huge. If the privacy officer will. Now, this is the part. How many of these privacy officers are, not going to do it because, they're working for the cabal or whatever you want to call it? I don't know. I don't know if any of them are. I've never talked to one. I just know that any other place I've gone to try to get relief, it's not worked because people don't want to do what they're supposed to do. So, okay. So if you're a veteran and, you believe you've been screwed, blued, and tattooed yourself, then, if you haven't done it already, you should go sign up to get My Healthy eVet information, right? Which, this stuff is all online that you can sign up for. And look at when you and so then you can print a personal information report, and it says it's confidential. Well, that's a security classification. That's an official classification of documentation. It's like people can go to jail for fucking around with this stuff, right? It's a confidential. You got confidential, secret, top secret. Those are the three, security classifications used by the military, other than unclassified. Right? This is classified information. So it had better be right? And so I'm looking at mine. I printed out, say, well, I got my name backwards. I don't like that, but okay, let's continue on for now. And then it's going to say that all of this information, right, came from all of these different sources, including DOD military service information. Well, that's good to know, right? But you got self-reported demographics and VA demographics. So they're saying either it's things you gave us or it's things that we got from your records. Okay, well, let's keep on going. Then we got VA health, healthy vet account summary, which says that the source is the VA for the summary, and it's all been authenticated. It's all honky-dory. And this facility here, Austin MVH, is the one saying it's all honky-dory. It's all good. Well, Austin MHV is not the VA. It's a third party, right? And then they're going to say, well, this is the treatment facility and all the different systems of, when they say systems, I believe they mean systems of records that they were going to use to authenticate that this record is my record, right? The X represents your self-selected VA medical center. Mine doesn't have one on there. And all these other things are other, and there's nothing on there, but, right? Department of Defense DEERS. Now, your DEERS record is the record that, if it was done properly, would allow a veteran to have a military ID that says that they're, protected by the Geneva Convention. So basically, to have a Geneva Convention ID, just like you had when you were active duty in the military. It wouldn't be an active duty one. It'd be retired or whatever. Right? They have other ones. They have many styles of IDs, but they never talk about them. So let me go to self-reported demographics. So apparently this is, right, your self-entered information saved in My Healthy Vet is not shared with other sources. They're saying I put this in here. And I'm saying I would never call myself with a middle initial A. Right? My first name is Robert Allen. My last name is Rutluski. I don't have a middle name. I don't have a middle initial. All right, let's look at a DD-214 real quick. Where they do it backwards, right? But it says name. In this case, they put, parentheses, last, comma, first, comma, middle. Okay, well, mine has last, comma, first. There's no comma in between here, so there's no middle. That's just first. So the Army agrees, right? So if they want to use my name this way, then it had better say last, first, middle, right? Then they can. But as I showed you in this thing, right, that they just saying my name is Ritluski. No, that's not my name's Robert Allen Ritluski. I want my name flipped around, and I don't have a middle initial. Right? What else does I have wrong? Right? Mailing or designated address. Well, how come there's no address in there? If you say I gave you this information. Oh, another thing is when you print this out, the patient you won't be able to get rid of. It's going to say that you said that you were a patient. I never said I was a patient. Right? They made me a patient by filling out this paperwork. Right? But in the Code of Federal Regulations for the VA, the only time it talks about veterans or patients and gives it a definition is when it talks about you being an alcoholic or having a sickle cell anemia or having some kind of a SDT, STD, sexually transmitted disease. Right? Then you're a patient. Well, I didn't tell them I was a patient. Yet, when they filled this thing out, it's already in there and you can't take it out. And then you get to VA demographics, right? Well, here they say that my middle name is Allen. Well, above they said I said it was an A. Now they're saying it's Allen. Well, it's not. It's just Robert Allen. That's my first name. Shouldn't have a middle name. But look at this. My permanent address. They have my county as 81. Well, I don't, how do I live in county 81? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I live in Kent County. Right? If we need to be specific, I live in Kent County, Michigan, United States. My country is not USA. USA is King George's jurisdiction. Right? Treaty of Peace, 1783. USA, United States of America. No, I live in the United States. That's my country. In my country, we don't have a County 81. We have Kent County, Michigan. Right? And they don't have my home phone number. So it's like they're intentionally not putting information in there. They don't have my place of birth. Right? So if my place of birth isn't in here, right, and this is information the VA gave me, then the VA doesn't understand, right, that I'm was by birth a citizen. Right? Doesn't have my religion as a Christian. And I don't, here's an interesting thing. Really, you don't want to have an ethnicity, right? Let me show you why. Let me show you something. Hang on here. All right? Ethnicity comes from ethnic, and ethnic is heathen, pagan, pertaining to the Gentiles or nations not converted to Christianity, opposed to Jewish and Christians. Well, I don't want to have an ethnicity then, right? You can leave that thing blank. I'm a Christian. So, yeah, this is what they do. If you put anything for ethnicity, you're going to be a pagan, right? You won't be Christian or Jew. And if you don't put something for religion, well, then they're going to probably assume that you're a Gentile, right? And you're going to be tried under the Noahide laws by the cabal and their frickin' ecclesiastic court systems. No longer required. Okay. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So that was about it. And then it gets into all the different things that could be in your thing, but that's not really of that much interest. But if you go down here towards the end, they're going to have your DOD service information. Right? So like on mine, it says I was prior service, in for 3, got out for about a year and went back in. But when I was discharged the first time, I was a sergeant. I was not discharged as a corporal. So this isn't my record. It's wrong. Right? So I'm saying these are all HIPAA violations. There's errors on my records that you're saying are the truth. No, that's negligence. This shit's fucking wrong. The VA's the one saying this stuff. Right? They don't have an MOS for me. There's nothing in here. No combat pay. Well, I didn't serve during combat, so I wouldn't have one. But no separation pay. According to my DD-214, if I had been separated, according to the DD-214, I would have been, paid separation pay. But I didn't get it. Right? There's nothing in here. So, right, it's, it may not be a HIPAA violation, but it's a negligence violation, right? They're negligent in their using of this information because they're using at least 3 different names for me. Right here they have Rutluski Robert Allen, right? But you know, they showed up here that they were using. Hang on, which one is it? Right, Robert Allen Rutluski. And they say that I said, no, my name's Robert A. Rutluski. Well, I didn't say any of these things. And every place else wherever they use a date, it's always like 09 for September, 05 for the day, and then date at the end. Only on this document is it, the day of the month, and the year. Otherwise, it's all numeric and it's the month, day, and year. So all of these attributes, are incorrectly put in. It's like gender, male. Really, our gender isn't male. I think our gender is man. Right? The gender has a different. It could be a male unless you're a human. Then you're a man or a woman. Otherwise, you're a male or a female. If you're just an animal. It's part of the games they play. So this is, the thing that has the errors in it. So I'm going to take it as part of my complaint to the privacy officer. Right? Again, let's go back to that. Right? VA Privacy Services. And if you want to find one, right, find VA locations, well, they'll tell you how to find yours. So this is a good place for a veteran to start. And you got these things here that talk about policies and procedures. And, this is the shit they're supposed to do. If they're not doing it that way, then, it's a violation. And the privacy officer is supposed to help you file a claim. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Okay, well, I know this was kind of rambling all over the place, but that was the idea because it's all these little pieces. I'm just trying to say that I talked about them and put them in a video so that the NSA can hear it and make sure that whoever needs to know. It gets identified. And I don't think there's anything else I need to talk to you about, right? So I'm going to leave it there. Okay. Well, one last thing, right? If you want to try, call your county and say, hey, you want to take the oath of allegiance? Call the clerk's office, especially if you live in Dutchess County. I got to talk to Warren, right? Say, Warren, you need to go down there and tell him you want to take the oath of allegiance, right? Go down there and get a copy of it. You don't need to go take it. Get a copy, send it to me and we'll talk about it. Let's go see what that's all about. But beyond that, my next video will be about this Dutchess County. Assuming that Warren sends me the information today that he's going to get me, and I'll be able to do a video on it. So keep your eyes open. All right. Have a great day.